I cheated on my husband to see if he'd fight for me, but instead he filed for divorce without a word. My whole family turned against me, and when my lover started tearing my life apart, I realized I had destroyed everything myself. I'm Clara, 32 years old, female, and I don't even know how to start this without sounding like the absolute villain of my own life. Because that's exactly what I am right now. My husband Victor, 35 years old, male, was God, he was steady. That's the only word for him. The kind of man who never yelled, never threw things, never once made me feel unsafe. He was solid, dependable, the rock in every storm. When my mom was in the hospital, he was the one bringing food and sitting with her even when I was too broken to function. When I lost my job, he worked overtime so I wouldn't feel pressured. He wasn't flashy, but he was always there. And maybe that's the problem. Always there slowly stopped feeling like romance. Somewhere along the line, I started resenting him for being calm when I wanted fireworks, for coming home tired instead of whisking me away on some spontaneous date, for kissing me on the forehead instead of pushing me against the counter like in some stupid Netflix drama. And then came Tyler. He's 29, a bartender at this rooftop bar downtown. I met him through my friend Jenna on a girls' night. He was funny, flirty in that way that makes you feel like the only person in the room. And for the first time in years, I felt noticed, desired, like a woman, not just a wife who needed the gutters cleaned. I didn't fall into bed with him immediately. At first, it was just texting. Dumb memes, late night conversations about music, the kind of banter Victor and I hadn't had in years. Then Tyler would call me beautiful, and my stomach would flip. And I started telling myself maybe I deserved this little secret, that it was harmless. But here's where I need to admit the ugliest truth. It wasn't just about Tyler. It was about testing Victor. Some twisted part of me wanted to see if he'd notice, if he'd fight for me, if he'd slam his fist down and say, "No, you're mine. You don't walk away that easy." I thought maybe if I pushed far enough, I'd wake something up in him, that we'd come out stronger, that he'd finally give me that passion I thought I was missing. So, yeah, I cheated. And the night it happened, when I came home smelling like someone else's cologne, I wanted Victor to lose it, to yell, to beg, to smash a glass and demand to know where I'd been. Instead, he just looked at me. His face didn't even crack. He didn't scream. He didn't cry. He just shut down, said, "Okay," in this hollow voice and went upstairs. 3 days later, he handed me divorce papers. No fight. No begging, no second chance. Just silence. And that's when I realized I hadn't just tested him, I'd destroyed us. After Victor handed me those papers, everything inside me cracked open. I expected rage, screaming, something I could fight against. Instead, he just left me with silence. Do you know how much worse that feels? A slammed door is at least a conversation. His silence was a coffin. He moved into the guest room that night and didn't say a word to me unless it was strictly necessary. We lived in the same house but felt like ghosts passing through. No late night fights, no breakdowns in the kitchen, just cold civility, like I was a tenant he couldn't wait to evict. Tyler, of course, leaned into the chaos. He loved being the escape. Whenever I'd sneak out to see him, he'd smirk and tell me I deserved someone who made me feel alive. His words felt intoxicating at the time, but in the back of my mind, I knew he wasn't serious about me. He liked being the rebellion, not the reality. He didn't want the mess of a woman unraveling her marriage. He wanted the drama, the sex, the ego boost of stealing another man's wife. The first person to find out was Jenna. She came over one night with wine, saw the papers on the counter, and froze. Jen and I have been friends since college, and she's always been the one to call me out when I'm being reckless. She didn't hold back now. "What the hell did you do, Clara?" she demanded, picking up the packet. "You cheated on Victor. Are you insane?" I tried to defend myself. Told her I just wanted Victor to fight for me, that I thought maybe losing me would wake him up. She slammed her glasses down so hard the stem snapped. "Wake him up? You destroyed him. Clara, you don't test people like that. You either love them or you don't." Her words hit harder than I wanted to admit. For years she had teased Victor for being boring. Too safe. Too predictable. But now she was looking at me like I was the unstable one, like I was the fire burning down my own house. Word spread faster than I could have imagined. Jenna swore she wouldn't tell, but someone did, because within a week Victor's sister called me, voice shaking with rage. "You ruined him! You broke the best man I know! Don't ever call this family again!" Then my parents found out. My mom, who adored Victor, said quietly over the phone, "Clara," I was like, "he was the only good thing you had." That one gutted me. Meanwhile, Victor didn't yell, didn't slander me, didn't even tell his side. He just quietly began moving his things out, piece by piece, like I was already dead to him. No revenge, no ugly theatrics, just a clean cut. And somehow that hurt worse than if he'd trashed the place, because it meant I wasn't worth even the effort of hating. Victor's absence didn't feel real until I walked into the living room one morning and noticed the wedding photo was gone. The one of us on the beach, me barefoot in the sand, him in rolled-up slacks, smiling like he just won the world. He hadn't smashed it, hadn't left it on the floor for me to see. He'd simply taken it with him, like a quiet reclamation of the only piece worth saving. That image haunted me more than any screaming match ever could have. By then the whispers were everywhere. Jenna had cut me off entirely. Mutual friends stopped replying to my texts. Even my own brother told me to lay low because his wife didn't want me around their kids. Everyone circled around Victor, no one around me. And the truth was, I couldn't even blame them. So I turned to Tyler. At first he was all in. Late night drives, drinks on rooftops, calling me baby like I had slipped into a second life. But when I started leaning on him harder, when the loneliness set in, his charm cracked. I'd text him 3 times in a row and he'd reply with one-word answers. I'd cry into his chest and he'd pat my back like a stranger waiting for me to get it together. One night, after I showed up at his apartment without warning, he snapped. "Clara, you can't just show up like this. This isn't... I don't know. This isn't what I signed up for." I froze in the doorway, mascara smudged, still clutching the bottle of wine I'd brought. "You told me I deserve better." "Yeah, better, not desperate." His voice was cold, sharp. "You're clinging to me like I'm some savior. I'm not. I'm just a guy you cheated with." Those words split me open. I laughed, bitter and ugly, because I'd traded my entire marriage for this man, who now looked at me like I was an inconvenience. That night, when I stumbled back into my half-empty house, I lost it. I tore open drawers, yanked Victor's remaining clothes onto the floor, screamed into the silence until my throat gave out. At some point, I hurled a photo frame against the wall so hard the glass splintered across the hardwood. When I finally collapsed, the only sound left was my ragged breathing and the clock ticking like it was counting down to something I couldn't stop. And maybe it was, because the next morning I saw Victor's car in the driveway. He came inside, calm as always, but with a box in his hands. Without a word, he started collecting the rest of his things. I couldn't stop myself. I grabbed his arm. Victor, please, don't do this. Yell at me, hate me, anything. Just don't walk away like I meant nothing. He looked down at my hand, then back at me. His voice was flat. Clara, you wanted me to fight for you. This is me fighting for myself. And just like that, he walked out again. Only this time I knew he wasn't coming back. Hey guys, real quick before we keep going. And don't forget to sub and drop a like if you're enjoying the story. And tell me what you think in the comments. I'll feature the best one in the next video. The days blurred together after Victor's last words. I went through the motions, work, laundry, scrolling endlessly on my phone. But everything was gray noise. The house felt like a mausoleum. Every corner whispered what I'd thrown away. Victor didn't call. He didn't text. He didn't even argue through lawyers. Papers moved forward quietly, signatures exchanged like business deals. I kept expecting some explosion, but all I got was silence. Silence, except for Tyler. At first I clung harder. He was the only one left who hadn't abandoned me. But the more I tried to make him my anchor, the more he recoiled. One Friday, I begged him to meet me for dinner. I even dressed up. Red dress, heels, the whole thing. He showed up late, smelling like whiskey with lipstick on his collar that wasn't mine. When I asked, his response was brutal. Clara, you're not in a position to interrogate me. You cheated on your husband to be here, remember? Don't play the victim now. Something inside me snapped. I threw my wine glass across the table. It shattered, spraying red across his shirt. People in the restaurant gasped, heads turning, phones slipping out of record. Tyler shoved his chair back and stormed out, cursing me loud enough for everyone to hear. I was left standing there, glass crunching under my heels, humiliated. The video made it to Facebook the next morning. Victor's sister saw it and posted some sanctimonious status about certain people showing their true colors. My own aunt commented, "Poor Victor, he deserved so much better." By Sunday, my family group text lit up. My cousin sent me the clip with a single line, "You've lost your damn mind." My father called me an embarrassment and told me not to bother showing up for family dinners anymore. And Jenna... God, Jenna. She didn't even bother with words. She just sent me a screenshot of the video and wrote, "This is who you chose to become." I stared at my phone until my eyes burned, trying to convince myself they were wrong, that Tyler was still worth it, that maybe Victor would forgive me, that I wasn't the monster everyone painted me to be. But then I looked at my reflection, smeared makeup, eyes hollow, a woman who'd set her whole life on fire just to see if anyone would try to put it out. And the terrifying part? No one even wanted to hold the hose. I didn't check Reddit after I first posted. Honestly, I was too scared of what people would say. But curiosity won. And when I finally opened the comments, it was like a firing squad. Half of you called me selfish, a narcissist, a coward. A few said I deserved to be alone forever. One person wrote, "You wanted Victor to fight? He did. He fought by leaving you." That one punched me straight in the chest. But not all of it was hate. Some of you told me to stop chasing Tyler, that he was just using me, that I needed to face my own reflection before expecting anyone else to care. A handful even said maybe Victor's silence was mercy, because if he'd screamed, if he'd begged, it would have given me hope. I hated reading it. I hated that so many strangers could see me clearer than I could see myself. And yet, I couldn't stop. So when Tyler ghosted me for 3 days after the restaurant meltdown, I snapped. I drove to his apartment in the middle of the night, pounding on his door until his neighbor came out to tell me to leave. When he finally opened, he wasn't alone. A girl, younger, prettier, with his shirt draped over her shoulders, peeked out from behind him. The look he gave me wasn't guilt. It was amusement. "See? This is what I mean," he said, smirking at me like I was a punchline. "You're insane, Clara. Go cry to your ex-husband. Oh, wait. You burned that bridge, too." My vision tunneled. I shoved past him, screaming, grabbing whatever I could. A glass bottle went flying. It hit the wall and exploded into shards. The girl shrieked. Tyler yanked me back by the arm, but I twisted free and slapped him across the face. "You ruined me!" I screamed. My voice cracked so loud the whole hallway filled with neighbors watching. Phones came out again. I could see the glow of their cameras capturing me, documenting just how far I'd fallen. Tyler laughed. Actually laughed. "I didn't ruin you, Clara. You did that all by yourself." Security ended up dragging me out. By the time I got home, there were already posts online. Blurry videos of me screaming, neighbors commenting about the psycho woman causing a scene. Victor saw them. I know he did, because he finally sent me a message. Just one line. "Please stop proving everyone right." That single text hurt more than any slap Tyler could have given me. And for the first time I realized this wasn't just about Victor or Tyler or even my family. It was about me becoming exactly the monster I'd always sworn I wasn't. But if everyone was going to hate me anyway, maybe I'd give them a real reason. After Victor's text, I didn't sleep for 2 nights. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying everything I'd done, every moment I'd hoped for him to crack, to rage, to prove I still mattered. Instead, all I had left was Tyler's mocking voice and Victor's cold dismissal. The truth hit me like a freight train. I'd been erased. My family, my friends, Victor's family, they'd all written me out like I was a character who'd been killed off in season 1. Tyler used me and tossed me aside like I was never real. And Victor, he was building a new life, clean and untainted, while I rotted in the ruins. That's when the anger came. It wasn't sharp or wild this time. It was slow, steady, simmering. The kind of anger that makes you plan. Tyler had been running his mouth. I knew it. A coworker of mine told me she'd heard from a friend of a friend about the cheating, about the restaurant fight, about me showing up screaming at his apartment. The story was spreading, and Tyler was the one feeding it, painting me as the crazy woman while he played the poor victim who'd just gotten tangled up with the wrong wife. So I decided to flip the script. I still had screenshots. Texts Tyler sent me calling Victor a loser, telling me I was too good for a boring husband, bragging about how easy it was to steal me away. Drunk voice messages where he admitted he loved the chase, and that I was never more than a game. Proof that he wasn't just some innocent bystander. And I knew exactly where to drop them. Victor's sister had blocked me, but her Facebook was wide open. She'd just posted another syrupy tribute about protecting family from betrayal, so I uploaded everything right under it. Screenshots, voice memos, timestamps, no commentary, just receipts. Within an hour, it blew up. Tyler's name was all over it. His smug texts, his late-night confessions. Suddenly, it wasn't just Clara the homewrecker. It was Tyler, the snake who mocked Victor while sleeping with his wife. By morning, Jenna texted me. The first words I had heard from her in weeks. "Holy shit! You actually did something right." It wasn't forgiveness, but it was something. And for once, it wasn't me drowning alone. Tyler was finally gasping for air, too. When I checked his socials, the fallout was already happening, and angry comments from girls, people tagging his bar with "fire this creep," his smug photos filling up with snake emojis. I'd wanted Victor to fight for me. He never did. But maybe this was better. Maybe I could at least drag down the man who thought he'd get away clean while leaving me to burn. The revenge wasn't sweet, it was bitter, but it was mine. The screenshots did their job too well. By the end of the week, Tyler was radioactive. His bar manager suspended him until things cooled down. Girls who used to trail him like shadows were posting "glad I dodged that bullet" selfies. He was the new villain, and for once it wasn't me. But Tyler wasn't the type to go down quietly. It started small. Blocked numbers calling at 2 a.m., heavy breathing in the other end. My car windshield cracked overnight, spiderwebbing across the driver's side. The cops called it probably random, but I knew. Then Jenna texted me. "Tyler's been talking, says you're obsessed, stalking him, dangerous." Dangerous. That word cut deep. The next blow came at work. My manager pulled me into his office with a grim look. "Clara, there have been complaints." He slid his phone across the desk. A fake Instagram account plastered with pictures of me, screenshots from those fight videos, old selfies Tyler must have saved, with captions like, "This woman destroys the families," and "unstable cheater alert." My stomach dropped. He was poisoning every part of my life. The final straw came on a Saturday night. I pulled into my driveway and froze. My front door was wide open. I hadn't left it that way. My chest seized up, but I went inside anyway, heart pounding in my throat. The place was wrecked. Couch cushions slashed open, drawers overturned, broken glass glittering on the floor. On the wall above the TV, spray painted in dripping black letters, were the words, "Slut." I sank to my knees, shaking, and that's when I heard the faint sound of tires screeching away down the street. Tyler. I called the police, of course, but they weren't much help. Without proof, it's just speculation. That's what the officer said while stepping over the broken lamp on my floor. Proof. I needed proof. So I made a choice right there in the ruins of my living room. If Tyler wanted to play dirty, I'd play smarter. I went out the next morning and bought cameras. Little black eyes I set up in every corner of the house, outside and in. Let him come back. Let him think he'd broken me. This time, I'd be ready. The house felt like a loaded gun after I set up those cameras. Every creak, every hum of the fridge made my nerves jolt, but I wasn't scared anymore. No, I was waiting. And a week later, he came. It was just past midnight when the crunch of gravel in the driveway jolted me awake. I peeked through the blinds and saw Tyler's car idling, headlights off. My chest tightened, but I forced myself to stay still, heart hammering. The front door rattled, then burst open. He stormed in, drunk, his voice booming. "Clara, you think you can ruin me? You think you can humiliate me and just walk away?" He staggered into the living room, knocking over a chair. His eyes were bloodshot, wild. "You were nothing! Victor didn't want you! I didn't want you! And now everyone knows you're just a pathetic—" I stepped out of the hallway before I could stop myself. "Keep talking, Tyler, please. Every word looks great on camera." He froze. Then his eyes darted around, landing on the blinking red dot above the TV. "You bitch," he spat, lunging toward me. I backed up fast, grabbing the baseball bat I'd left by the stairs. My hands shook, but I lifted it anyway. For a second we stood there, both breathing hard. The distance between us stretched tight like a wire about to snap. Then outside, the sound of sirens cut through the night. Tyler's face shifted from rage to panic. He bolted out the door, stumbling into the dark. The cops pulled up just in time to catch him tearing down the street. The footage from the cameras sealed it, breaking and entering, property damage, threats caught clear as day. They booked him, And for once, the monster who'd mocked me wasn't laughing. I should have felt triumphant. But standing in that wrecked living room, replaying his words over and over, Victor didn't want you. I didn't want you. All I felt was hollow. Victor never came back. He didn't even call after hearing about Tyler's arrest. His sister told me flat out to never contact their family again. My parents still wouldn't speak to me. Tyler was gone, but so was everyone else. In the end, my revenge didn't win me anything. It didn't make Victor fight for me. It didn't erase the betrayal. It didn't save my marriage or my friendships or my reputation. All it did was prove the truth I've been running from since the night I cheated. I destroyed everything myself, and there was no one left to fight for. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and like it. You can also watch more shocking stories in the playlist.